Good morning, everyone. And we are going to be talking about temperatures today. We're going to be talking about new terrain options as well. I'm Trisha Swenson. I'll be live in Vail Village. We got Billy Doran in our studio over at the Grand Hyatt Vail. And we have a very special guest who will be calling in from Kitzbühel, Austria. So, Vail Valley Live starts now.
And good morning, everyone. Billy Dorn here at the Grand Hyatt Vail, saying hello to everyone out there. We got some special people watching us. My sister Debbie and my Aunt Diana watching us from New Hampshire and across the entire United States in the San Juan Islands in Puget Sound. My friend Joe Gatos is watching. So welcome to you and everyone else across to Vail Valley Live. We got some cool stuff, as Trisha mentioned. Great to see Trisha always out there in that chilly morning. Thanks for being out there, Trisha. But we do have a special guest live from Kitzbühel, Austria. We got some amazing stuff happening over there. But it was a chilly morning today getting up here and to make it to the studio, 7 degrees in Edwards, Colorado. It is a cold one. So pour yourself another cup of coffee, have another cup of tea, and join us for the next hour here in Good Morning Vail. We got a lot coming up. Trish and I will be talking a lot about Beaver Creek's opening day and all the events and things happening there. Always an exciting time. Vail has been open now about a week or so, give or take, and Beaver Creek opens tomorrow, actually a little bit earlier than they planned, which is always nice with this new snow we've had. So exciting events going on. So that's happening a little bit early in Beaver Creek. But we also got all kinds of other stuff. As we mentioned, we're going to be talking to Chris Anthony. We got your road reports, weather updates coming up, and all kinds, a whole slew of cool things to be talking about. And we're glad you're joining us here. And we're going to take it out, Tricia. She is live. As you can tell where she's standing, it's a little chilly. So we appreciate her being out there. Tricia, tell us where you are. And it's always great to see you in your fur-lined face.
Oh yes, you know what? I'm like in the nook of the north with my gear on today. But I thought I would stand here right in front of the Colorado Snow Sports Museum at the Vail Village parking structure, right at the base of Bridge Street, and you can see the clock tower behind me, and see how it's snowing up. That's what I call it. I call it snowing up. And basically, the snowmaking guns, they are in full force right now. And Billy, it's been a chilly November. They've been able to make a lot of snow. And that, coupled with Mother Nature, that little stealthy storm that dropped
Yeah.
9 inches of snow
Yeah.
last week, like, we've been able to open more terrain. And guess what? They're going to open today.
Tell us. You know.
Okay, well, Chair 11.
Yes.
So Northwoods is going
One
to
of
be
my
opening
favorite
up
chairs.
today.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite chairs.
So,
Such
Billy,
great terrain over there.
Yeah, so Billy, when you talk about lifts now, we have Gandhi 19 out of Lion's Head. We have Gandhi 1 out of Vail Village. Then we have Chair 4, all right? So that's Mountaintop Express. Now we'll have Northwoods just
Yeah.
to the east of that. And then Avanti Express. And then Born Free Express. Little Eagle Lift for the very beginners at the top of Eagle's Nest. So we've got quite a few lifts open.
Quite a
on the
few.
front
In
side.
all the years we've lived here, you and I have both lived here quite some time, several, 3 decades, give or take. It goes by quick. This is one of the best conditions we've had at this time of year in a long time. As you're driving down I-70, and Trish, you and I have talked about this, when you look at Vail Mountain, you might look at it and go, well, I see some dirt spots or what have you, but you're only seeing a little part of Vail Mountain. When you get up to the halfway mark, from there all the way up, it might as well be January. There is full-on coverage. As you mentioned, that big storm that came through early here for a November snowfall, that was great. We're at a great spot right now, so the conditions are terrific. It's cold, albeit. This is pretty chilly for pre-Thanksgiving, but it's definitely keeping the conditions great. And like you said, all that snowing up is a good thing. Those snow guns are going at it 24 hours a day, and they're really making this mountain ready. And we're so thankful to beat the snowmaking crew. Those guys and girls get out there so early. They're there in the middle of the night in these heavy clothes covered in ice, getting these guns going. So we really appreciate everything that team does, for sure.
Oh yeah, and ski patrol out there and everything. Hey, and keep in mind, like it's just because it looks like it could be open and it looks all pristine, don't cut the ropes. You don't
Right.
want to lose your pass, your pass can get taken away for,
Right.
about a month or the whole season.
Sure.
So we're just way too early to like lose that pass already.
Yeah,
So
and that'd
be
be
smart
nonsense.
about it.
Nonsense to cut any kind of rope like that. Hey, I mean, right now there's snow, but there's not enough. So all it takes is a powder covering on rocks and debris. So you don't want to be heading any place you're not supposed to be right now because there's not that much snow. But let's take a look at the weather right now, Trisha. We're going to see what's happening the next few days. Unfortunately, there's no great snowfall in the forecast right now. Not like anything like Buffalo, New York. My God, 6.5 feet of snow they got in Buffalo, New York. We'd love to have some of that out there. But currently 9 degrees right here in Beaver, or excuse me, over in Beaver Creek, 8 degrees in Vail. So poor Trisha's standing out there at 8 degrees. But let's look at the temperatures. It's going to get a little bit warmer today. And if we look at the next few days, temperature's not too bad. Those nighttime temperatures chilly. So make sure you take a little extra care of those pets in the evening if they're outside. Make sure you give them a little extra warmth. The daytimes in the 40s. Looks like one of the best days coming up is Saturday. So if you got anything outdoors to do, Saturday might be your day because it might get consistently much colder after that. And of course, Thanksgiving looking pretty chilly, mid 40s, early or low 40s, so not too bad. But overall, things are looking really good. How's it looking out there where you are? Where you are, Tricia, are things kind of waking up? Is the mountain waking up around where you are?
Yes, you know what? The bus just dropped a group of people off, so people heading to work. I saw the Pegasus, a kind of smaller vehicle. They've got the big Mustang
Yeah.
that goes between here and Denver, and then the Pegasus is the smaller version of that pulled in when I got here. But yeah, I believe that it's single digits. My car said 9 this morning.
Yeah.
You can see my breath. Oh yeah. But you know what? We've got a lot of sunshine coming out. And Billy, we still have leaves in our yard. We still have patio furniture out. Like we've been waiting for that nice warm day
Yeah.
to take
I,
care of this yard work.
Yes, I think I'm looking for that Saturday coming up because I still have some stuff to do to close down my kids' camp in Walcott, and that's going to be my one little window to get all that done because after that, I'm not going to want to go back out there because everything's going to be frozen and covered in snow. So I'm going to take advantage of that Saturday coming up for sure. For sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I know. Well, yeah, but it's great for skiing and everything. Oh, here's our first cheer crew. Hi, Steven.
Trisha
Look
knows
at
everyone in the
Lisa.
whole valley.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, they are. There they
Hello,
are.
America. Yep. So we got some people getting ready for the slopes. We got a 9 a.m. opening. So 9 to 3:30 is when the lifts will be open here at Vail. And then Billy, tomorrow, opening day at Beaver Creek, 2 days earlier than scheduled.
Hmm.
And they've been blessed with all of this great snow and their snowmaking teams.
Yeah.
Really cool that we're going to be out there for that tomorrow. They're still going to have the chocolate chip cookie competition on Wednesday as
Yes.
originally scheduled.
Yes,
The
I've
original opening
hosted
day.
that event before, and I got to say it's a lot of fun. I mean, how can it not
Yeah.
be fun? It's a chocolate chip cookie event. It's a contest. They have what, 5 people. You have 5 finalists. Probably hundreds of people submitted their recipes of their idea of the perfect chocolate chip cookie, and they whittled it down to 5 contestants, and they all make what is it, Trisha? 1,000 cookies?
A
3,000?
thousand
A
each.
thousand
A
each. They have to
thousand.
make 1,000 cookies each. That sounds heavenly, in my opinion. I would like to get a big, giant tub of great vanilla ice cream and just make little chocolate chip cookie sandwiches all day long. So it's 5 different nominees for this, and then it's a competition. Everyone tries the cookies, everyone votes, and then whoever wins, their recipe is the one they use for all winter long. As you've mentioned several times on the show, that Beaver Creek does the cookie time every day, and it's become like a world-famous event. Go to Beaver Creek, summer and winter, and line up and get your cookies. When you see all the chefs walk out, it's almost like something from Willy Wonka. All of a sudden, an army of chefs walk out in the chef's coats with the hats, the white hats, and they all got these monstrous trays of chocolate chip cookies. But it's a great event, for sure.
Oh, it definitely is. And you know what? I love how Ken Hovey says it. He goes, I love Beaver Creek for the heated sidewalks, escalators, and chocolate chip cookies.
That guy could put away a
So,
whole tray of those by himself, I'm telling you for sure.
yeah.
So it's always a great event. But as you mentioned, Beaver Creek opening tomorrow. You know, I got to say, Beaver Creek, I think maybe I'm going to go out on a limb here, Tricia. I think you and I both hold Beaver Creek kind of pretty special. It's our little teeny gem up here amongst this massive valley. And Vail is incredible, absolutely. Beaver Creek's got its own kind of vibe. And that's where you and I met there over, 30 years ago, give or take. I was bartending at the Coyote Cafe, and you had just showed up in town. We've been friends ever since. So Beaver Creek is just it's a fantastic little mountain. They have everything there at your fingertips, and it's just a terrific place. And they got other events happening coming up for this week, don't they? They have the tree lighting that comes up on Friday, yeah.
Yep. So tree lighting on Friday, and that'll be the 42nd annual. You know, Beaver Creek is 42 years,
Yep.
Vail is 60 this year. So we've got that going on, and they're going to have activities during the day as well, kind of like, you know, Santa's workshop with some arts and crafts for the kids. I think they're free ice skating, and then they'll have the ceremony once it get dark, and they flip the switch.
And they
on
flip
that.
the switch.
So that
It becomes this
is
magical,
awesome.
this magical village for sure. There is this look at the information right there. And Tricia, I know a couple of days ago I was watching the show, and you'd mentioned what back in the day when President and Mrs. Ford were living in Beaver Creek, and they were there all the time. And that was such a fantastic time. And that was really the start of the festivities, the start of the winter, the holidays, when they would show up and they'd be part of the tree lighting as well. And it was so cool to see President Ford around. Even in the summertime, you could be standing in line at the post office, and he'd be right in front of you. You know, his Secret Service would be standing outside the post office, and you're standing there with President Ford. Hey, Mr. President, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. How are you today?
I know.
It was
I
always so
remember
wonderful. Here's a cool story. When I first moved out here, I was a lift operator in Beaver Creek. My very first job was a lift operator in the winter of 1989-90, and I worked the top of Strawberry Park chairlift. And back then, that was the most unused chairlift in the entire area. It was basically only access for cross-country skiers to the top area up there, so it was extremely underused. But I'd have to get there 6 in the morning, somewhere around 6:30, and we'd have to crank up that lift. And one of the coolest things about being a lift operator is you get to be the first person to ride up the chairlift to make sure everything, the line's all clear and get things going. You got up there even before Ski Patrol, which was really cool. But the Strawberry Park chairlift used to go right over President Ford's house. And you could see, I'd see him in the morning having his coffee at his little breakfast nook, and I'd be going, that's the President of the United States, and he's sitting right here in Beaver Creek as I rode up to this glorious morning at the top of Beaver Creek. You'd be up there by yourself. There'd be eagles flying around. It was like magical, and I'm sure it's still the same today, but it was really cool when they were around for sure.
Oh, it definitely was. And you know what? Yeah, you go over that chairlift would go over their house, and then the Secret Service lived, you know, in the back. They had their
Yeah,
own quarters
they
back
had their
then.
little
And
condo kind of thing.
yeah, totally. And I remember seeing Betty Ford. I was going to get my hair cut, and she was just leaving her little hair appointment. So that was always cool to see. But she was in Avon getting her hair done.
Here's a good one real quick before we toss to commercial break. I got to perform as Elvis Presley in the 4th of July parade in Vail Village for President and Mrs. Ford. I'm on a flatbed truck dressed as Elvis performing for the two of them. That was a lot of fun. But anyway, you and I could talk all day long, literally, Tricia.
I know.
We're going to take it to a break. We got so much more coming up here in Vail Live. Please, thanks for joining us and stick around.
We're for the fashion forward and budget minded. We've got the brands that set you apart, the style to make you stand out, the looks that let you shine. We are for the dreamers, the doers, and the savers. Outlets at Silverthorne. Elevate your savings. Save up to 70% on the best designer brands. Visit outletsatsilverthorne.com for current sales and events.
Hi, I'm Peggy Ziegler, fashion guru and stylist for the Outlets at Silverthorne. I am so excited to be standing here today with Nathan Straubel, the marketing manager here at the Outlets at Silverthorne. He's going to tell us all about Black Friday, the biggest shopping day.
So Black Friday is a big shopping day for all of America, and we are prepared to make it a great one here. We're open between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Not open on Thanksgiving to give time for families to spend time together. We're going to have great deals. We'll post them on our social media and our website ahead of the Black Friday deals.
Okay, so people can go to outletsatsilverthorne.com to find out more. See you soon.
Welcome back to Vail Valley Live. Billy Dorn here in the studio. We got our own Tricia Swenson out there in the cold temperatures. We'll be joining her shortly. I want to have a huge shout out to the Grand Hyatt Vail. Is where our studios are. Thank you so much for everything the Grand Hyatt Vail does for us. We enjoy being here, and it's nice and toasty warm where I am. Sorry, Tricia, but that's the truth. We are going to take a look at the Vail Daily headlines. Of course, the Vail Daily, it is available all over the valley. Wherever you go, you'll see kiosks for the Vail Daily right there. And of course, right on the headlines, we love it. Hometown girl, she is the best. Michaela Schifrin comes out swinging. She is crushing it again, defending her overall champion. She opens World Cup season with her 5th slalom win, and yes, that is a picture of Michaela with a reindeer. They're in Finland right now, and when you win a race like this in Finland, you get a reindeer. So at this point, Michaela basically has her own herd of reindeer over in Finland. And no, she doesn't bring them back to the United States. They do stay in their comfortable surroundings there in Finland. She gets to name them. And I think, actually, Tricia and I were talking earlier, she heard a rumor, because, of course, they're a half a day ahead of us in Finland, that Michaela may have actually won another race today. We need to check up on that. So she just continues to crush it. And we just love her and love watching what she has going on. If we take a look on the local and region shifting winters, of course, that's a big thing to talk about. Everyone's talking about climate change. And, I just mentioned a while ago about that massive snowstorm in Buffalo, New York, over 6.5 feet. Well, we used to get storms like that way back in the day. I think I can remember a storm around 1994, 95, where in February, we literally saw the sun for about 2 hours the entire month. They had to dig out the chairlifts every morning. In fact, there's a couple days, I think, some of the chairs were closed. We haven't seen those storms in a long, long time. So that's definitely a big thing with shifting winters and what's going to be happening, especially with the future of the ski industry as mountains change and climate changes and snow. The ultimate foundation for any ski resort is snow. So we'll see how that changes. Over on page A5, this is a very cool story. Young Eagles Aviation prepares for takeoff. This is a local nonprofit that started out in Grand Junction, one of the airports there, and they've now taken the idea and they're basically taking off, excuse the pun, here in Eagle County. And what it does is it helps very young kids, teenagers who are looking into being pilots. And it helps them get that, achieve that goal, up to $10,000 they put towards their flight training. So it's a nonprofit that helps kids go to that route. And I was telling Carlin, our producer, earlier, I'm very proud of my nephew Tommy Mercier of New Hampshire. He's 15 years old. He just got his pilot's license. So I'm so proud of him. Tommy, if you're watching, great job, buddy. Keep at it. So it's really neat they're doing this stuff. If we take it over to arts and entertainment, on page A14, one of the guys that a lot of you guys will know, everyone will know, we're talking about Chef Pascal Coudois. And I hope I said that right. I hope I didn't just chop that up, Pascal. I've known you a long time. He is a very established chef here in the Vail Valley. He's been around a long time, but he is right here where we are at the Grand Hyatt Vail, and no doubt he's going to crush it. I was looking at this interview, and I got to agree with him very much on the whole thing about his favorite protein. Of course, like any great Frenchman, duck. Oh, c'est bon, the duck. Oh, of course, of course. And looking over in sports, of course, the headlines again are Michaela Schifrin skis to her 48th World Cup slalom win, and we'll be giving you more information on that because I know she's going to continue to do great. She is an incredible skier. She's had some ups and downs, but she continues to be up, 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 and takes it and just runs with it. So, Michaela, keep at it. You're doing terrific. But all that is available at the Vail Daily. Again, those kiosks are all over the valley, so just check them out. Grab one of those papers. I also want to mention they just released their Vail Daily Best of the Best magazine. This can be found as well all over. And this is a great little thing for you guys to take up and look at just all, whether it's fly fishing or golf courses or yoga studios or dinosaur museums. Or restaurants and bars. Vail Best of the Best will give you all the voting on the top 3 places throughout the whole Eagle River Valley, places to go check out. But right now, we're going to take it to take a look at the traffic here in the Vail Valley, because that's a big area. You got to get up here in the mountains. There's a live look at the cameras. East Vail, Dow Junction, Vail Pass, Eisenhower, pretty clear right now. We've had a nice sunshine the last couple of days that have melted off a lot of that water. Always, always be careful of black ice. We do get some melting in the afternoons, in the late afternoons with that sunshine, and that melting will refreeze. And also a reminder, if you're driving back to Vail today, it is Sunday. You're going to hit traffic almost a given. You will hit it in the afternoon, so either leave plenty early or just hang out and have a great time in the village or throughout the valley and leave later on today, because you will hit that traffic around Idaho Springs as everyone piles back to Denver. And if you do head out today, we're really glad you joined us here in Vail, and hope you had a terrific time while you're here. But right now, we're going to take it back to our own lovely Tricia Swenson, who's standing out in the cold. Tricia, where are you now and what's happening? Oh, there you are.
Billy, I thought I would come over to the 10th Mountain Division statue. This is right near the covered bridge at the base of Bridge Street. And you know what? You can go on tours with the Colorado Snow Sports Museum and learn about the history. You can go on the art walk tour as well. This is part of the Art in Public Places. And Billy, I don't know if you knew this or not, but see how he is oriented kind of towards the southeast,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
will, and that is for a particular purpose because his view is Riva Ridge. So Riva Ridge, named
Right.
after the famous battle in Italy, we had Riva Ridge, Battle of Mount Belvedere, and so this 10th Mountain Division statue is facing Riva
I did not
Ridge.
know that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is very cool. And for those viewers who aren't familiar with the connection that we have with the 10th Mountain Division, that is a group of a platoon of men in World War II that fought over in Europe. And it wasn't just fighting, it was wintertime fighting. That's why the statue's dressed in white. They dressed in white to blend in with the snow. Talk about some battle conditions. But if you drive out just towards past Minturn, out that way, you come across Camp Hale, which was recently made a federal monument, a national monument. President Biden was out here to sign the papers on that. But that's really interesting because when you go out there, it's just this huge expanse. There's almost like a valley floor, and all that is left of this massive training area, which housed tens of thousands of soldiers. They had buildings and tents and stores and tanks and all that stuff out there. And all that's left is the roadways and a few crumbling foundations. But we have some incredible history, and that's what that statue behind Tricia is all about. I did not know that that was why he was facing like that. But I am noticing, I didn't realize those soldiers were 11 feet tall. That's pretty wild.
I know I'm short, but this one is extra tall.
It is really
this
cool.
Is, probably larger than life.
He's larger than life. Speaking of something else that's larger, another person, a living person that's larger than life is Tricia. We have someone that's waiting in Kitzbühel, Austria to chat with us who always has interesting stuff. So I'm going to let you take it away right there and bring in our special guest, our surprise guest.
All right, Chris Anthony, we're so excited that you are joining us all the way from Kitzbühel, home of the Hahnenkamm. This is super cool. Can you hear us, Chris?
I can hear you perfectly, Tricia.
Here we go.
Sitting here in the Kitzbühel Country Club. The best Wi-Fi signal I can find is right here in the lobby of the Kitzbühel Country Club. So there might be a little background noise, but it is, what is it? It is almost 4 in the afternoon here, and so I've had a full day already. And but it's a great place. There's been snowing the last few days up high here, but I've been able to get some bike rides in. But yet today I rode up to the snow line, and I think we're going to show you a little bit some of the stuff I've been doing here. I came here because I was a guest of the owner of the Kitzbühel Country Club to show my film, Mission Mount Vanguard, in a private screening here in this facility. And that was very interesting because I've now shown this in 5 different countries. And considering the story, I thought it was quite interesting to show it here in Austria. But it went over very well, and everybody received it in a very special way. And so I feel blessed to be here. But I also, while I was here, I figured this is also the home of the most famous World Cup downhill race in the world. It's been running for over 100 years. One of the scariest, gnarliest, whatever you want to call it. The Birds of Prey is right up there with it, but this is the Hahnenkamm, the Stripe. And here's some footage of it. That's Bodie Miller, and some highlight reels of it. Red Bull made an amazing film about this race called The Stripe. They made it about 5 years ago, and it's worth. You can get it on Netflix or iTunes. It's worth the watch. This is an intense downhill. It takes place every January, and you can see the finish area there. Literally 50 to 80,000 people will show up. It's like finishing in a football stadium, and it's to literally solidify yourself as one of the best downhillers in the world. You got to kind of win here. You definitely have to ski it, but if you can win it, you are basically solidified as a legend. And I took some footage. I walked through town the other day because this place is so legendarily built around skiing and ski racing. I took a walk through what they call Legends Park here. And so some footage here. This is obviously Kitzbühel's been around for a very, very long time. We did that 1271. The village is amazing, beautiful. And I walked around the village. I think actually there might be voice on here, so I'll let that just run. If you guys can do that.
We got sound on that, Carlin? No?
Okay. Hey, Chris, why don't you just talk over it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
just have
So
you talk over.
I'm just taking you on a quick. Okay. I'm taking you on a quick walk here through Kitzbühel. So that was right down in the village. Actually, I've fallen in love with this clothing maker here. You can find this clothing. The only place in the United States is in Gorsuch. And this family's been here for 3 generations. They started with leather, and then they combined with local wood, and it's handmade, amazing clothing. I've become very good friends with the family. It's all family run, and their connection with the Gorsuches back in Vail is pretty strong. So it's called Fonshu, and you can go find this over there. I'm actually wearing one of their coats right now, and I'll be skiing in their gear this year. This is a map of Kitzbühel, and so I'm right there in Kitzbühel. The little
Yeah,
town.
Chris, point
So
out
if you go
what you
over there,
showed me. Point out what you showed me about how massive this mountain is, so our viewers can get an idea. Because everyone thinks Vail is giant, which it is, but show them how big this is.
Okay, so where I just pointed, first one, and where I pointed the second one. So the first point that I showed you was essentially Minturn. The second point that I showed is essentially the top of Vail Pass. So that's how big this ski area is. So it's like literally 5 different Vails in one area with back rolls and everything. So that whole thing, that map right there would be basically from Minturn to the top of Vail Pass.
That's amazing. Now, a lot of these are they're individual little resorts. Is that correct? And they all kind of combine and connect?
It would literally be if you had a base area in Minturn, you had a base area like we do in Lions Head, one in Vail Village, one in East Vail, one on top of Vail Pass, one in Copper. You would have one in Red Cliff.
That's
you would ski
amazing.
over to Camp Hale. It's that big. It's
That is
massive.
crazy.
You know,
So I also want to mention, because Chris
yeah.
was just talking about the run, that famous run, the Hanukkah there in Kitzbühel. If you're not familiar with that, our viewers, just get on YouTube and view some of the runs. Franz Klammer, was it back in the late 70s, early 70s? He had a run that was literally on the edge of death. It was one of those things, controlled chaos. This run, this downhill is out of control. And like Chris was saying, if you survive this, you become legendary status. And so definitely check that out on YouTube. But I also want to ask Chris, because Chris, you're kind of a legend in your own right. You've worn so many hats. You were on U.S. ski team. You've actually skied that run. You've done multiple Warren Miller films, which we've talked about, the upcoming stuff here. But you were an extreme skier. You've been on film doing crazy stuff as well. And now you're an accomplished filmmaker. Man, that's a lot of hats. How did you go from all your skiing into such an amazing work in films, that you're doing such great work with your nonprofit work, everything? But how did you make that transition? How did that interest draw you from being on the snow to being behind the camera?
Okay, but first thing I have to make one thing clear, that I did not race the Hanukkah. I wish I could have raced the Hanukkah,
But you skied it.
Skied down it as a recreational skier.
Gotcha.
But literally, I'm taking groups down it during the race, when the course is happening, and it is hard to ski, to go out of the start. So it is a scary course for sure.
Yeah.
But all the years that I got to ski with the Warren Miller team and be around those filmmakers and everything, I was able to, I guess, absorb a lot of the knowledge of the filmmaking process through Warren Miller and Warren Miller Entertainment. And along the way, I was introduced to the story of the 10th Mountain Division. We did do a film back about 17 years ago called Climb to Glory, which loops in the Colorado Snow Sports Museum. So you can go in there and see that. You can also learn a lot about the 10th Mountain Division in the Colorado Snow Sports Museum. Along the way, though, some Slovenians tracked me down and made it very clear that a portion of the 10th Mountain Division story had not been told yet, and that we didn't even recognize it. And that was when the 10th Mountain Division ended up on the Yugoslavian border between May and July 1945. So while Japan was still fighting, just shortly after Germany surrendered, our 10th Mountain Division was still over here and still hard at work. And one of the things they had to do was push the Yugoslavian army out of Italy and back into Yugoslavia. It was a very peaceful conflict, thankfully, but as they were holding the line, they decided to have a ski race on top of a mountain called Mount Mangart. So my film called Mission Mount Mangart is about the journey from 1939 to June 3rd, 1945. So it starts with the vision of the 10th Mountain Division and ends with the ski race on Mount Mangart. What you're seeing right there in that one photo with all the people in front, that is actually on Mount Mangart, just below the race arena. I'm standing next to the U.S. ambassador to Slovenia and many other dignitaries from Slovenia there. And the reason being is that this past June, in honor of my film, they did a big celebration up on Mount Mangart on the 77th anniversary of the race. And so this film has allowed me the opportunity to come over here quite a few times. It's shown in NATO. It showed in Washington, D.C., in the Slovenian embassy there. And also I got to go over into the Supreme Court. It showed in NATO. It's shown in, I feel like Forrest Gump a little bit. I've been like on this journey.
Yeah.
That's been unbelievable.
That's incredible. You need to write a book. You literally have been everywhere doing all of this stuff. And then it just, everything you have to talk about is always these unique and interesting facets, these tangents that go, wait, you did what? You did what? It's amazing. There's a look at Chris's work right there. Read more about it, because he just has always got his hands into something really interesting and usually something really special. So it's great. It's always great
Chris,
just to talk to you, Chris.
And Chris, you've got the movie coming back to the Vail Valley, because you can only see, like, you just can't rent this. This is not on Netflix. You can only see it where Chris is having showings. So, Chris, why don't you give us your upcoming show dates and locations?
Absolutely. So, yes, I'm only showing it in person and live. And the reason being is because every time it shows, it raises money for my youth project as well as any partnering nonprofits. So the next showing will be December 10th in Keystone at the Warren Station, December 14th at the Wheeler Opera House in Aspen, and then December 21st, we just scheduled in Avon at the Westin, and then January 9th in Steamboat, and that'll be a fundraiser for their ski club and the Special Olympics. So those are the ones that are on the schedule right now. There'll be more coming about soon.
That is a schedule. You just went sideways. Don't go sideways on us. The interview's doing so well. Stay on the rails. Yeah, we'll all just talk like this. Well, that's amazing. I don't know how you keep up with that schedule, Chris. I don't know how you do it, but you keep doing it for sure, which is amazing. We look forward to seeing you back here in the Vail area in a couple days when you can make your trip back over here for the World Cup. And Trish and I are going to be talking about the World Cup coming up, because we got all kinds of cool stuff. Chris Anthony, we can't thank you enough. Always cool, always interesting. So we hope to see you again soon, Chris. We're going to take it to a break. Trish and I will be back with you momentarily. Stick around. We got more coming up here in Vail Valley Live.
In the extraordinary, we're free to discover more together. Experience it for yourself this winter. Get your lift tickets today.
Hi, I'm Peggy Ziegler, fashion guru and stylist for the outlets at Silverthorne. I'm here to share with you an amazing place called the Colorado Welcome Center. We've got fabulous brochures on all the nearby places and towns and things to do right here while you're in Summit County and visiting the outlets at Silverthorne. And of course, pick up your Elite Savings Card booklet, offering you fabulous discounts and a rewards program too. See you soon.
This Weather and Mountain Report is brought to you by Liv Sotheby's International Realty, Colorado's leading real estate firm. Contact your Vail Valley broker professionals today to help you live the life you love.
Welcome back to Vail Valley Live. Billy Dorn here in the studio. Tricia Swenson out in the field this chilly morning. Let's take a quick look at our weather forecast and snow report coming up. It is a chilly morning. It's 9 degrees in Beaver Creek and only 8 over here in Vail. Those temperatures are still hanging pretty low in those single digits, but as the day progresses, things will warm up a little bit. We'll get in the mid-20s, higher 20s later today. It's supposed to be a gorgeous sunny day. And we talked about the traffic earlier. When you're driving along those I-70 corridor, even though we get some sunshine, it'll melt some of that snow. So do be aware of that moisture on the roadways because that will refreeze, especially as the sun peaks and goes over the hillside. That water will start to freeze up. There's a look at the next few days. Pretty nice. We have a few days Thursday and Friday, the potential Thursday, maybe some clouds. You never know what some snow might pop out of those clouds. And Saturday, the 26th, so just a little few days after Turkey Day, is probably one of the nicer days. So if you got stuff to take care of outside, you might want to do it that. It's one of the warmer days for sure. Here's a look at the snow. Not a whole lot of snow in the last few days or the next few days, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. Get out, do a little snow dance. That never hurts. And of course, it just never hurts to dance anyway, right? But it's a chilly one right now. We're going to take it out to Tricia. She is hanging tough and staying warm out here in Vail Village. Tricia, tell us what is happening. You see, again, I like to say it's always interesting to watch the village wake up. And all the employees and people head to their stations, and everything all of a sudden starts to ramp up.
Yes, you know what? We see people starting to make it to the ticket offices. The lifts open at 9 a.m. right now. You know, closer to the holidays, they will open up at 8:30, but not right now. It's 9 to 3:30. So those are the lift hours. We mentioned earlier that Lift 11, Northwoods Express, is going to be opening up as well. So we're really excited about that coming. And so now we have Born Free Express. We have the gondola, of course, out of Lions Head, the gondola out of Vail Village. Avanti Express is open for you. That'll connect you kind of from Born Free. Then you take like Lions Way, the Catwalk to 2. And then 2, you can take either Over Easy, Midvale Express, or the Meadows over to Midvale. And then for lunch, we've got Eagle's Nest, the Marketplace. We've got Buffalo's for you. We also have Midvale. So if you want to get lunch on the mountain, you can do it right there. But Billy, if you get hurt, well, fortunately,
don't get hurt.
We've got
don't get hurt. We definitely have
hurt.
professionals.
Save your season. Save your season. You know what? We had a chance this fall to talk to several of the amazing doctors over at Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery.
Ooh.
So it was really interesting, you know, to talk about maybe you need, you know, a hip replacement or a knee replacement. When do you do it? Maybe you blew your ACL. I mean, it's very common here. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, we've all had lots of friends who've had to go that route, unfortunately, and we get some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment that come from all over the world to come here to get that work done because we do have the best here for sure.
Yeah. So let's take a look at one of our Ask the Doctor series and find out what they have to say.
While as snowboarding is more frequently going to involve the upper extremities when patients are bracing themselves, not yet patients, but skiers or snowboarders are bracing themselves for a fall. Wrist fractures are very common with snowboarding. Shoulder injuries very common with snowboarding, including AC separation, shoulder dislocations. We see a lot more ligamentous injuries about the knee with skiing. ACL being a very common one. One that we see that is non-operative is an MCL injury, which is always good news to give a patient because it's just a little downtime and then we expect a full return to prior level of function without needing surgery. Fractures, etc., of the lower knee joint called a tibial plateau fracture, very common in our skiing population. Snowboarders may want to wear a wrist guard, trying to protect that wrist from a big fall. How long is it okay for my shoulder to hurt after falling off my snowboard? Pain that is persisting for several days after a big fall is probably something you should have evaluated. We are always ready to see patients on a same-day basis. Anything that it presents with extreme weakness, an obvious deformity, or other truly concerning symptoms, you should be seen immediately. Any tips for my first ski season after an ACL tear? So this is one of my areas of particular specialty is ACL reconstruction. It is going to take on average about 9 months for a full return to sport. But we are actually assessing the patient with the assistance of our wonderful physical therapist here in the Valley with what's called a return to sports testing. That's the general progression of all return to sports is starting a little slower and then building up higher, just like professional athletes do. Does a broken collarbone mean my ski season is over? Depending on the pattern of the fracture, may be treated surgically or non-operatively. A broken bone versus a fracture, we may offer surgery for that particular clavicle fracture. Normally a patient is going to be, in my practice, allowed immediate active and passive range of motion coming out of the sling as soon as they can tolerate. It takes about 6 weeks for the initial healing of that clavicle to occur. Depending on the fracture itself, I may clear somebody for some lower risk skiing after about the 6 to 8 week mark, or it may be the 3 month mark. Are there winter sports that you should not do with a labral tear? If we have progressed you through physical therapy and you're doing well with your labral tear, then the goal is to return you back to all sports, whether it is with or without surgery. And that's the goal of all of our non-operative treatment is get you back to full level of function, pain-free and doing well. Thank you so much again for watching the Ask a MD segment here with Vail Valley Live. I'm Dr. Max Sider with Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery. Stay safe out there. Number one piece of advice, wear a helmet.
Club One is a pivotal part of the Vail lifestyle, with spacious lockers to store all your gear in a ski-in, ski-out location. Club One is your mountain headquarters, stacked with club amenities and members-only perks. Club One, we're the locals' locker.
In the extraordinary, we're free to discover more together. Experience it for yourself this winter. Get your lift tickets today.
Welcome back to Vail Valley Live. Billy Dorn in studio. We're going to take it back to Tricia Swenson, who's out in the field. Now, Tricia, it's a little chilly still. We're still in single digits where you are. Now, it would be safe to say, if people who are viewers, if our audience is getting ready to head out today, it's about layering up. And I'm looking at you, and you got a few layers going on here.
Yes, you know what? This is when you want to put the hand warmers and the gloves. I mean, the mittens. You want mittens today. I love mittens. I'm a big fan of mittens. And you're going to want to have the good base layers. And, hey, it's not cheating to get boot heaters. That's just called plain smart.
That's genius.
Okay?
It's genius in my book.
I hear people are like, oh, boot heaters are cheating. Okay, Mr. Cold Feet.
Frostbite's for losers. Frostbite's for losers.
So if you're going out today, you might need that, and so it is definitely layer up. And, so I see people, there's people in the line already. I saw some people getting off the bus a while ago. So they are diehards. They're going to go get after it on chair 11, I'm sure.
Yes,
So,
for
because
sure.
11 is going to be open today. But I thought we'd come right here because, see the statue? This is called The Edge. And it's kind of modeled after Bodie Miller and Bodie's Wild style and everything. And I figured since we were talking to Chris Anthony about the Strife, that wonderful movie that is all about the honeycomb at Kitzbühel.
It's such amazing. The whole story is so amazing. Let's bring Chris back because he's live in Kitzbühel right now. Our own Chris Anthony. So let's bring Chris back if you're there. Chris, are you still with us? There he is. Oh, he's looking cozy sitting there at the bar. It is the afternoon there now. It's what 4:00 in the afternoon there, Chris. What are you sipping on?
Yeah, so there's a lot of details here. This is Austria, so ski racing is super important. And I'm at so today the World Cup was on. Michaela, I guess I shouldn't tell you the results, but of course they watch ski racing here like we watch football back at home. And so it was a great day for the Americans here. So to watch that, and then I went on a bike ride, and it's snowing up high here, but this country club is also where Arnold Schwarzenegger belongs to, and being a big Austrian himself. And
last I checked, Arnold, he's a very big fan of ski racing. Ah! Oh, look at that! What is that? A skull cocktail? Is that some kind of Austrian concoction to really get your blood going there? What is that?
Arnold Schwarzenegger tequila. This is his tequila brand.
I don't need the lime or lemon now. Just give me the tequila.
It's got a leather jacket.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Leather jacket, and this thing is solid.
Like Arnold.
Strong.
Like Arnold, solid. That's terrific.
Like Arnold.
That's terrific. Chris, let me ask you something. So, as you are in the mecca of ski racing there in Kitzbühel for sure. We're literally the skiers there. Skiers in that area are treated like international rock stars, as it should be. They put their lives on the line all the time. Now we're coming into the World Cup, and you were talking about Michaela, who's just crushing it right out of the gates, which we're so proud of her as always. She's had a few challenges going on. What's happening with her? I know she's kind of pushed media away, which I don't blame her at all, but she's doing great. What goes through a ski racer's head like Michaela, she's winning? What is her main focus right now, just to keep everything together? And what's on her plate on an average day in someone in her situation?
Well, I would say Michaela Schifrin is on such a different level, even in her own pure class, right? So she treats her sport like a Formula One racer treats car racing, and she's got a team around her that's amazing. She did switch up the entire team for going into this new season. She is literally the greatest ski racer living right now.
So cool.
Active. I shouldn't say living, active.
Right.
And today makes her 76th World Cup win. There's only two people in front of her and that have more World Cup wins, and they're both retired, one being the great Lindsey Vonn and the other one being Ingemar Stenmark. So here we are into the first two races, women's races of the World Cup season, and Michaela is batting 1,000. She just won today, she won yesterday. She's skiing so well. I would say with her new setup, her new team setup and support setup, and she's dating an amazing guy that's also one of the top two ski racers in the world, Kildal out of Norway. He'll be racing at the Birds of Prey in a week or so we'll see him there. But she's just got a really good thing going on around her. She, what I did notice, and she has become also more connected with the U.S. ski team and with the other girls on the team. So she's just, it seems like she's having a lot more fun too.
Yeah.
And
that's a big part. That's a big part of ski racing, right? That's a big part of ski racing because you have to have fun. It can't just be all business. You got to be enjoying it. Otherwise, what's the point, right? I mean, that's your world. You got to have some fun.
You got to have fun. But as you can imagine, every time that Michaela does anything, there's so much pressure on it because everything that she's doing right now, she's breaking records. So everybody's keeping track of all her numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, every time she hits the podium, it's a new record. Every time she's on top of the podium, it's a new record. So it's amazing what's happening. So there is a lot of press, there is a lot of pressure, and she's got to find that balance, and she seems to be doing it very well.
She seems to be doing it wonderfully. Now, Chris, obviously, as you mentioned, the World Cup will be arriving here in Beaver Creek the weekend of December. That's only next weekend, and that's going to be exciting. Any standouts that you can tell us we need to look out for? I know we have a lot of Steve Nyman, Tommy Ford, Travis Ganong. We got Ryder Radamus, some local guys. Any names you can think of that we really need to keep our eyes on?
Well, yeah, of course, on the American side, you have Tommy Ford that's back from an injury, and he seems to be skiing very well. He had an incredible run in the first World Cup of the year. He won the second run of the giant slalom and moved from something like 29th all the way up into 6th or something. So he's skiing very well. River Radamus skiing incredibly well, and he'll be on home turf. But, the person that's going to stand out is the person that won the overall last year, and that was Marco Odermatt, and he already won the first World Cup of the year. And then the first downhill of the season is coming up here in Canada, so we'll get a good idea of who is skiing fast in the downhill. Of course, then the second downhill will be the Birds of Prey in Beaver Creek, which, so we'll get a feel for that. And usually, Michaela's boyfriend, Kildai, he's skiing awesome all the time in Beaver Creek. So it's something worth coming out for. It's very rare to have the top skiers in the world come into your backyard, and then you'll be at Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
Here shortly.
And Tricia, you've talked to many of these skiers over the years, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of them will always say that Beaver Creek downhill, that mount is one of their favorite mountains of all the mountains they ski in the world.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, the Honeycomb is probably the scariest, but Beaver Creek is right up there. It's probably one of the top 3 most intimidating race courses. But what the people always say is the racers just love the care that goes into it with the Talents crew. And this is a volunteer crew that puts them together. And you know what? I think the race is going to be, just the course, it already got the thumbs up from FIS, the International Ski Federation, so they are going to be hosting that race, and so we're really excited to have that. And we've got a couple other races, Lake Louise, and then the Birds of Prey, and then the women will be over in Killington. So it's nice to have racing on American soil during this time of year, and then they're going back over to Europe.
But just a couple of days ago, I did get a chance to talk. I talked to Tommy Ford, and he is raring to go. He can't wait to just dig in on Beaver Creek Mountain. And then you mentioned the ladies as well. I got a chance to talk to Alice Merriweather, who's just still coming off an injury, but she said the team is raring to go. She's having a tough time sitting on the sidelines, but she can't wait to get back on the snow. And it's an exciting event. I mean, it definitely is. All eyes from the world will be on Beaver Creek during that weekend. It's going to be a terrific time for sure. And I think we're going to take it to commercial, but I also want to toss on one more I'm a little biased. On December 4th, my own wife, Lily, is singing the national anthem at the World Cup. So I'm very proud of her, and I'll be there that morning for sure. It's a fun event for locals and people all over the world, so I can't wait. We're going to take it to a break. We got a lot more coming up. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Chris again over there in Kitzbühel, but stick around. We got more coming up on Vail Valley Live. We'll be right back.
Have I got a secret for you? Sales Spectacular from the Columbia Outlet. It's not just fleece anymore. 2 for $50, mind you, which is amazing. Sorel boots are at the Columbia Outlet, all from $50 to $89. Plus, with your savings card booklet, save an extra 10% off when you spend $75 or more. Castle Rock or Silverthorne, it's the place to be at the Columbia Outlet. See you there.
Hi, I'm Carrie Hogan, and I'm at Knapp Harvest. Welcome to the bounty of Knapp Harvest. We have wonderful local and organic vegetables and fruits from all up and down this valley. You can see all these beautiful apples. If you've never done an apple tasting, I absolutely insist you should. There's so many different kinds of apples that grow right here in Colorado. Also pears. It's so interesting to taste the different bounty, and again, when it's fresh, it's just been picked, it is really chock full of minerals and vitamins for you. It's the best time to shop. It doesn't come from another country. picked non-ripe and then shipped to become ripe on the shelves. By that time, all the nutrients are gone. So we have gorgeous squash and potatoes and sweet potatoes and pie pumpkins, all the kind of things that you want to think about for Thanksgiving. So we have lots of recipe ideas here at Nap Harvest as well. We've got our beautiful Nap Ranch mushrooms in a stuffing recipe with sausage, with some of these apples, with celery, onions, just beautiful. We do recommend some recipes with honey as well. Our own Nap Nectar honey. We do honey glazed root vegetables, very colorful, beautiful, very good for you. A sweet potato casserole that would include honey as well. You can do a honey glaze with a honey mustard. Lots and lots of ideas. So if you're into planning your Thanksgiving meal, don't forget to shop here at Nap Harvest. Now, if you are too busy, you're like me, you're not going to be able to cook a Thanksgiving meal, we have Second Nature Gourmet Thanksgiving Meals to Go ready at Nap Harvest on November 20th through the 23rd. And you can buy dinners that'll serve 2 people, or you can buy dinners that'll serve 4. So if you're too busy to cook, you get an organic turkey meal with all the fixings. So lots of things to talk about for Thanksgiving. Our honey chest is all full. We're spinning honey right now. We've collected the honey out of our 29 hives. We're spinning them, we'll be bottling them, and so they'll be ready for you. So come see Nap Harvest. We are open here in Eagle Ranch 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 4. Come see us. We'll welcome you. We are closed on Thanksgiving.
This Weather and Mountain Report is brought to you by Grand Hyatt Vail, Hyatt's newest luxury resort in Vail.
Welcome back to Good Morning Vail, the Vail Valley Live. Billy Dorn here in the studio, Tricia Swenson out in the field, and of course we've been talking to our good friend Chris Anthony live over in Kitzbühel, Austria. That's been really cool. We're gonna take a quick look at the weather right here, see what's going on. It's a pretty day. It's still chilly. Oh, look at it. It's a heat wave. Temperatures are really rising. 11 degrees in Beaver Creek and 10 degrees in here in Vail. We've come up a few degrees since this morning when we got going. Of course, across the day things start to warm up a little bit, but not going to be a real warm day today. It'll stay pretty chilly, so make sure you prepare for that as you head out today. There's a look at the next few days on Thanksgiving. We got a few clouds, a low of 13 and highs in the 30s, so it's going to be a chilly day on Thanksgiving, so that means you need to eat a lot of food because that'll keep your belly warm, and that in turn will make your whole body warm. That's the way I look at it. Here's the snow report coming up. Not a whole lot coming up in the last few days, or in the next few days, I should say. We do need to get out and do snow dances. Unfortunately, we can't make that storm that hit Buffalo and drop 6.5 feet of snow. It'd be nice if we could make that storm hang a U-turn and come back here. That's not going to happen, but I'm sure the snow is on its way, no doubt. Let's take it back out to Tricia and see how she's doing. Starting to warm up. I mean, Tricia, it's now 11. Oh, sorry, it's 10. Oh, I think her phone just died. Sorry, I just got word her phone died. She's been out in some cold temperatures. We really appreciate her out there for sure. But it's been a great day out here today. We've been talking to Chris Anthony. Now, is Chris still over in Austria there? We still have him? Chris, you still over there in Kitzbühel sitting at that bar? That looked really, really cozy. I would love to be there joining you. There he is, right there. So, what do you have for the rest of your day? Being a U.S. ski team member, legendary extreme skier, now accomplished filmmaker, sitting in a bar in a club in Kitzbühel with Arnold Schwarzenegger's tequila in front of you. What does the rest of your day look like today?
You're very generous with my resume.
It's true. It's true. It's all facts.
So it is now. What time is it? We're getting near.
It's happy hour there. Isn't it happy? Isn't it opera? It's opera there.
It's opera, and I'm in this beautiful spot, the Kitzbühel Country Club, not too far away from the Han and Calm downhill race itself. And I just got a text message from a friend of mine that she used to live there in Vail, but she was born here in Kitzbühel. My friend Sophie Hoffman, and we are going to go to dinner here soon. So,
very nice.
So the rest of my day is made up of eating. And
it doesn't get any better than that.
But and it's beautiful here. I've been just able to. The snow is just coming here. I did a bike ride today up pretty high where the snow is now sticking. Kitzbühel is a little bit lower in elevation, quite a bit lower in elevation than Vail. So
we
it
are.
takes a little bit longer for the snow level to move down. But by January, when the Hahnenkamm hits here, they'll be revved up to go. And just like Tricia said, we have literally the Beaver Creek downhill, the Birds of Prey, which is one of the top 3 on the World Cup circuit. What makes it very difficult is that it's so early in the season, and these ski racers are all of a sudden going 1,000 miles an hour with very little mileage under their legs. And by the time they hit January, though, ready to hit the Hahnenkamm, they'll be ready for them here. And that's the pinnacle of the World Cup season as far as the iconic downhills you want to win.
Yeah.
So,
Now, Chris, let me ask you about something. Earlier when we were talking to you, you gave us a tour of Kitzbühel, and you were walking through the Legends Park area. And I think what a lot of our viewers might not get, even locals that live here in the Vail area in Eagle County, Eagle River Valley, tell us the mayhem that's going to come up when it hits in January in that area when the World Cup is there. Give us some sense of what it's going to be. What's the atmosphere in that little town going to be when that happens?
Absolutely. So so this is the route. This is called Legends Park, and this literally thousands of people will walk through here. Of course, they'll be filled with snow, and they walk by all these iconic memorabilia of different people that have won the race over the last 100 years.
And that area there will be full of hundreds, if not thousands, of partiers right there, right?
Yeah, it is nuts. Right in front of, right at the other end of Legends Park, the train comes in literally from Munich and everything. So thousands and thousands of people can access this town by train. And they'll come in, and some won't even get a hotel room. They'll just come in by train on a Friday and just party till Sunday and get back on the train and leave. What we're looking at right there is all the winners of the Hahnenkamm in some way, shape, or form over the last 100 years.
Wow.
There's a little trivia if you ever get asked it. The Americans that are on this board, actually quite impressive. You have Phil Mayer, and you have Bodie Miller, you have Darren Rawls, you have one of the Cochran family, and Buddy Warner back in the 50s, early 60s, won the downhill here before the World Cup, as well as, who am I missing on there? There's one other person that's on there, Chuck Ferris. Chuck Ferris is on there. So the Americans have done pretty well here.
That's so cool.
And that path leads up to a tunnel, and that tunnel goes down underneath the train tracks and then up onto what now is a golf course, but they are already shutting that golf course down and laying down the plastic. So you can
there's
see
a look
this
at the tunnel right there, yeah.
And then and then they have those fences will come down. Those are the stairs up into the what will become the finish arena. I kind of go up here and peek through. They're laying down the maps already. This will all be huge, huge buildings and grandstands. We're talking right there, this whole thing will be, sometimes it gets up to 80,000 people, and that's what will turn into the finish arena. It's literally the finish is on a golf course that comes right into town. And it's, the Zeal Shush is up to the left. I'm not able to sneak out there any further because of the fence that's there. But this is just one of the most iconic scenes in all of ski racing history. It is unbelievable. And when when they win, it's so crowded and such mayhem that they've actually built a secret tunnel from the finish area that takes them down underneath the crowd and comes out somewhere else. And only the people that have ever won the race know where that tunnel is.
That's funny.
Nobody else is allowed to see it or know where it's at. It's quite unique. And Darren, I was asking him about it. He's not quite sure where he went in or where he came out or how it worked because it looked so different with the crowd and everything. All of a sudden, they usher him down because this is mayhem. This is the most important watched race in the world. And when you win that thing, you are insanely famous.
You're famous.
And everybody wants you.
International fame, hidden tunnels, putting your life on the line. Sounds like a James Bond movie over there in Europe. Well, this has been a terrific tour with you, Chris. It's been really fun chatting with you over there live in Kitzbühel, Austria. We hope you have a great time chowing your way through the rest of your afternoon, for sure. Have a safe trip back here to Colorado. We look forward to seeing you at World Cup. And in only, next week sometime, the weekend, 2nd, 3rd, 4th of December, that's when it hits here in Beaver Creek. And we hope to see those crowds up here roaring and making noise and cheering for the crowds right there, because it is a great time of year. So as we wrap things up here in the Grand Hyatt Vail, we thank everyone for being here. Thank all of our sponsors, especially a huge thanks to our special guest, Chris Anthony, over there in Austria. Chris, thank you so much. And, of course, Tricia Swenson in the field. It's been a terrific show. We look forward to seeing you guys again. Make sure you tune in every morning at 7:30 for Vail Valley Live. You can find us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch us also on Outside Television, Channel 17, every morning, 7:30 to 8:30 live. I'm Billy Dorn. It's been a great time spending time with you guys. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.